Hi everyone. Let me introduce myself. I'm Kartik. I was a part of GSOC. I was fortunate enough to be a part of GSOC last year along with Rocket.Chat. I worked on a application called speech to text that converts if you send a speech, if you send an audio message on Rocket.Chat. So the idea behind the project was there should be a button that, when you click on that button, it transcribes your audio text. So that was the idea Marcelo wanted. We built upon that. I added a couple of modifications to it. And yeah, the project is under review. It should be live this month and you guys should be able to use it very soon. And the topic that I choose for the discussion for the meet today is how do you get started along with the humongous code base that Rocket.Chat is. So, the first time when I opened up this application, when we decided that, we're going to be contributing to Rocket.Chat. So the first impression to the application was wow. Like when you open up this code base, when you just browse up and you have this code, it's overwhelming to be honest, no matter how experienced you are or how less of an experience you have. It's even for a experienced person, I still feel, I know that I know my way around this code base, but it's still overwhelming the amount of stuff that we have over here. So the first thing, like, and I get asked this question very often, like, how do you get started with it? So, and for today, I'll be presuming that you have at least this, a local version of Rocket Chat running on your machine, and yeah, what to do after that? That's going to be my topic for the day. So the thing is, guys, let's start with the first and very obvious question. Like people, the new beginners who are getting started with the code base, all they read up some blogs. There are some YouTube channels that they are just say open up the code base and get started. That's really not how you want to start. Whenever you're working on, and in fact, Rocket Chat is a great application. If you're going to be working on Rocket Chat, you should know your way around Rocket Chat. You should at least know what the application does. So in my case, what I personally did was, let me open up Rocket Chat. In fact, I have a, yeah. So is my Chrome window visible? Just let me know. I'll check. Um, okay, I guess it is. Um, yeah, I think it should be visible. So yeah, the first thing that we did was and I knew that before I can't contribute on something that I don't know. I can't just go into the source code, find out the bugs, and start working on them. That's just absurd. So the thing is, to get started as a beginner, you should obviously know the application that you're going to be working on. In my case, it was Rocket Chat, and yeah, this was the application. So I spent around a week because it's a I never used Discord or anything like that. So this chat application was something new to me. So it took me a week. I took my time, got around the application. There are a lot of elements. We have Omni channel, we have applications for Rocket Chat, we have slash commands, and there's a huge, as I told you, it's a huge code base. So the first thing that I did was I got comfortable around the application. So I made sure that I know what a channel is, how these chats are working, how do you use emojis, how do you send files and stuff like that. And the first bug that I found was, yeah, I guess that was the first bug. I found a small typo in the custom status section. There was some bug around here. So that's the first thing. When you're going around this code base, although the code base is a lot polished, but you will eventually end up finding a lot of bugs. So that's how I got around my first impression of Rocket Chat. I went through the application, discovered some bugs, and then finally I went to GitHub to again look at the code base. So let me go back to GitHub real quick, and I guess we are back on GitHub now. So, and yeah, one more way of starting working on the errors is just going to the error section on GitHub. But again, this section is only and only relevant if you know what the application does, if you know what the application is about. If you don't know the application, there's no point of working on the issues, right? Because you won't know what you, let's say you even fix the issue, but you won't understand what that issue is going to affect, how that issue is going to affect the real application. So that's why whenever someone asks me how to get started with a Rocket Chat, and I get this asked a lot, my first answer is just go around the open server. It's free to use, and yeah, it's great. So that's the first thing. You know the application. Now we start with the issues. There are a lot of issues on Rocket Chat, and there are labels as well over here. So you can, so you yeah, and filtering through issues. I know it's a tedious job. but yeah, you can go around your way. So yeah, that's for finding the very first issue, your very first issue. In my case, it was a very small typo, and then I moved my way up. But yeah, that's the first issue. That's how I ended up on my first issue. Now the thing is, let's say you found the issue. Let's say I'm presuming that you found a new issue. You found a new issue and you want to fix it. The first thing to check is, guys, go into the pull request. Check for pull request. Let's say for a week or a month back. There you can see that has that issue already been fixed, because that's again very important. Many of the issues that we worked on were already fixed by someone, but the PR was not much. So you'll end up wasting your resources and time if you fix something that has already been fixed. The first thing that you should do is that uh, go to the pull request, and check, has your issue been fixed. If not, then great. Open up a new issue. It's very simple. Just go into the new issue section and create a new issue. Then once you the issue, assign a PR to it. Create a new PR for your issue, and that's how you fix your first issue. That's how I did it. That's how everyone does that. And let's say you picked up an issue that has already been created by someone. Let's say you didn't file that issue, but it has already been filed. Now, how do you start working on that issue? First thing is, guys, that make sure somebody else is not working on the issue, because again, that's something important. You don't want to end up wasting your time and resources. So when, let's say, I want to work on this issue, I'll just open it up. I'll go to the comments. I'll check what's happening here and what's the situation like. And if no one's working on it, you can just add a comment here that I'd like to work on this issue, and that's pretty much it. Because it's not only so the if the next person finds this issue, he or she would know that this issue is already being worked upon. So that's how you find your issue. You get it assigned. What's the next step now? The next step is, and it comes in really handy. So for now, let's just use the built-in VS Code editor that we have now on GitHub. I'll just make sure that I'll just go back, because I think there are some bugs on Safari. It just won't open up. So I'll open up Rocket.Chat in my local machine, and there are some pointers that I want to share with you guys. So the first thing is, guys, that obviously codebase is huge. We know that. But the thing is, if you found an issue, let's say we're talking about a typo that needs to be fixed. I'll go back to Rocket.Chat, and let's say you are searching for something called, maybe you are searching for the status. Let's say, the spelling is messed up, or some capitalism, some issues here and there, some typo. So the best way to find, because obviously this is a new application for you, the code base is huge. So how do you get started? You use the VS Code search. As simple as that. I'll just search for online here. I'll make sure that I'm doing the strict check. And now I can navigate my way around. So just keep in mind, we're going in the reverse direction. I'm not directly finding where this file belongs and stuff like that. I just search for online. I'll go through my application where this online is written, and I'll be going in the reverse direction. That's how you find something. So that's something that I use very often. I even use till the date. Now let's say, and yeah, let's search for members. So we also have something called I-18. So here, let me show it to you. We have some languages here. So for example, here we can see where it is defined. So immediately I just found out where the file is with just the help of search. I'm not familiar with the code base as a newbie. Just need to find the file, and search comes in really handy. So that's your first step. How do you find something? Now the other part is, okay, that maybe you're not fixing a typo. You're fixing, let's say you're fixing a function, or maybe you want to improve function, you want to make changes to a function, or anything related to the coding part. So the thing is, that again, VS Code will come in really handy. If you already don't know this, if you control click on some definition, some functions, for example, maybe you want to change something in the vertical bar, you can just control click here, and VS Code will take you to that file where it was defined. And that's going to, yeah, that will take you to the file. And again, you can use your search, find the issue, figure out what's going wrong, and create a PR for it. But here's the thing. And this is again very important, that when you fix that issue, and I personally remember I messaged Singh, because I made a PR. It was open for 7 days and nobody reviewed it. So I've messaged random people on Rocket.Chat so that they can help me out. But this pointer was given to me by one of my friends, actually, Priya. And yeah, so what we can do is in GitHub we have something called blame, and it's going to come to rescue because I also have an extension called GitLens, by the way. It allows you to check who wrote the specific portion of code that you're working on. So in my case, let's say I'm fixing this file, index.ts. And here, when I hover, it clearly shows me who wrote that file. So this file was written by Tasso. And since you're working on Rocket.Chat, so there's a high chance that someone, that the person who wrote your code is already available on the open server. So here I can just search for Tasso, and here he is. I can message him directly. Obviously, mentors are really busy. They are really busy, and they're not free for every time. But it's just a way how you communicate with them. You can obviously tag them on GitHub, but rather than tagging random people out, tag the actual author of your code because they know it better whether you're fixing something or whether your change is going to break something or not. So that's how you communicate with the person who wrote your code. Now, yeah, that's how you navigate around the code base. Now the other part is this code base is huge, and I am a web developer. And how do you select what part to contribute? So the thing is, guys, that Rocket.Chat is split up into three. I'll call it three major applications. There's a lot going on here, but we have three major code bases. We have the core, that's the Rocket.Chat, the core application. Then we have something called Fuselage, and Fuselage is something that all of the UI elements that you see on your Rocket.Chat application. So we are using you know a module here called Rocket.Chat Fuselage. There's a mono repo that exists on GitHub, and the UI components come in from Fuselage. So you can't. So if you want to, so if you're good with React, say you don't want to get overwhelmed with the code base, you can just directly go to Chat Fuselage, and there you'll have all of the mechanism to run the React code. Just the UI element that are being used in the core application. For example, these buttons, these icons, and maybe you found a overflow bug or something. Don't waste your time in the core application because this all stuff lives inside the Rocket.Chat fuselage. That's for React developers. For Node.js developer like I am, Rocket.Chat also supports a lot of applications. Rowan just told that he has an application. I created a Rocket.Chat application. So you can create your own applications for Rocket.Chat, like you have on Discord. You can create some bots and a whole lot of stuff. So for that, if you want to create an app, again, there's a separate repository for that. There's a repository called the Apps Engine, and all of the applications use App Engine. So again, and most of the app. So if you are into Node.js, you are better off with that. If you want to contribute to the apps, you better start with the App Engine. But at the end, you should know the code base. You should know what you're doing. You should know how to use GitHub blames. You should get the issue assigned to you properly. Don't message and spam around random people like I did. And yeah, that's how you get your way around Rocket.Chat. That's how you start contributions. So yeah,
Well, that's
that's
very
my
good.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank
this
you.
is very important for, I have this because when you get into the Rocket Chat code base, you
Yeah,
like you have server, you have client, and then you go like,
there's a
okay, where is this code? I can find this code, and then you go like, oh no, we have a fuselage. That's the whole
yeah,
other
exactly.
deal. And thank you very much